Ain't the flu talking. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow
Got a
leather.
touch of the influenza.
No influenza. Your sweet little boy has the influenza.
Sure does. Influenza A.
It's a real thing this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fun. It was fun when he was just like coming in and out of consciousness next to me on the couch with a fever of 104.2. That was cool.
It's the scariest thing ever. Fevers are just the scariest thing ever to me.
I'm like psychotic. Once it reaches a certain level, I'm like,
Mhm.
call an ambulance.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like call the doctor. I'm
Right.
like, no.
It's so tough because I mean, if you take them into the emergency room, they're just going to give them $50 5 milliliter dose of Motrin.
Yeah, they're gonna hook him up to it because this happens every year for us because
Mhm.
Eli has asthma.
Mhm.
They'll hook him up to a breathing treatment, give him steroids,
Mm.
watch him for a bit, send us home with something. And then I get shamed by the doctor for his lack of growth. Could it be from the steroids? I'm like, that's once a year. That's one
And
dose of
you-
prednisone.
And you give them to him.
Like, what do you want me to do? Be like, well, we don't want to risk that half inch, so guess he'll either sink or swim. Like, what are you talking about? I hate when they give you little tidbits that are not helping anybody.
Right.
Like, what would
Just
you
make
have
you
me
feel
do
bad.
then? Because I have him on the medication you prescribed.
Right.
I give it to him throughout the year per your instruction,
Right.
and now it's my fault that he needs prednisone.
Right.
Like, F right off with that.
F right off.
Anywho, he's doing better today. So far, we're all still healthy, so
Good. I'm happy.
hopefully I'm not breathing my my pre-flu air into your mouth.
I think that you know that my immune system
Oh,
is something very special.
yeah,
Thoroughbred racehorse immune system.
totally. You should be studied.
I should be. I'll put that in my last will and testament. Feel free to study my body.
Yeah, I donate my body to science willingly. You're welcome.
Pacifically.
Specifically,
Red leather, yellow leather.
especially.
Red, yellow, leather. Okay. Well, I'm happy that he's feeling a lot better and he's on the mend. Nobody likes a sick kid. Do you know that when Sawyer was tiny, he had 2 febrile seizures in my hand? Like I'm holding him one time when he was a tiny little nug and his eyes are rolling back in his head.
Mm-mm.
And it was the scariest thing ever. And then fast forward maybe a couple years, same thing happened.
Mhm.
Or the first one, he was laying on the bed. Second one, I was holding him. And I knew what it was. So I was a little bit calmer, but I'm like, oh, there's nothing more terrifying than
Yeah,
seeing that happen right before your eyes.
yeah, totally. And last year when we all got the flu, Peyton also had a fever of like 104 point who knows what, and she started hallucinating.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's real.
And she had fallen asleep on my bed at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mhm.
So I just let her sleep a while. And then I was just going to transfer her to her bed because she was so zonked out. So I carry her in there. And suddenly I think she's coming to. Her eyes are open. She's looking at me. And she starts like going and like panicking and shaking. And I was
Oh my
like,
God.
what? What is it? What is it? And she's like, like, and I'm like, freaking the fuck out.
Right.
And she goes through this whole thing. I finally get her to calm down. It turns out she like was not awake. She was not with it. I was like, what were you so scared of? She's like, I saw robots fighting behind your head in my bedroom. And I'm like, wait,
Oh.
what? She had full on hallucinations from this. She's like having a fever dream, the
Right.
fever dream.
Yep.
Yeah, she had one. And
Yep.
it was horrifying because you're used to your kid acting a certain way. You know your kid, and then they start pulling some of that shit, and you're like, wait, what?
And it's not even something that you can tell if they're faking. Like you can tell they're not faking and you can
Yeah.
tell that it's like, holy crap, you're
I was
not in
like,
control
am
of
I
this.
dealing with like a child that can see ghosts here?
Right.
Is there a crazy witch hovering behind me?
Mm-hmm.
Is my house haunted?
Yeah.
That's when I start going down this huge spiral roller coaster of like, what could all of this be? Does she have a brain tumor?
Right.
So then I like, I
Your
brace
brain's
for
so
the
sweet.
worst. And then I phone somebody like Nicola. Shout out to Nicola yet again.
Like,
And I'm like, this is what happened. Do I need to take her to the hospital? She's like, No, she's probably fine. I mean, it's just probably from the fever. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, sure. That's it. Not
Isn't
a
that crazy?
not a haunted house or a brain tumor or something
So
like that.
maybe you can resonate with this. I think that you can't. So Sawyer went through I live in a yogi world. I believe in spirits. I believe in that kind of stuff. But I also have, I guess, limits on it. So I know when kids are little, they're supposed to be more susceptible and see spirits, angels. They're more sensitive to it because they haven't been jacked by normal human life of desensitizing, whatever. And so Sawyer went through this phase where he said that he would see ghosts and he would see all of this. So I'm like, I was mind F because I was teetering between like, is this kid trying to manipulate me right now? Or do I believe him because I really do believe in this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So I went back and forth, and luckily I did a little Archangel Michael statue in his room, and these things kind of subsided and it stopped coming up. But I just kind of like nurtured it instead of being like, no, you can't see, there's no ghost, there's no da 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 da. Da. I kind of went with it maybe a little bit more than a normal parent may. Either way, I didn't want to kibosh his little hopes, but
They're like, you hone that, sweetheart.
bring it
You
in.
open up and you let them speak to you.
Oh my gosh,
Like the kid in The Sixth Sense. I just watched that movie again recently.
you did?
Sorry, like people hate on M. Night Shyamalan. His later stuff is kind of shitty, but like Sixth Sense slaps. And little Haley Joel Osment, bless his heart, he
Mhm.
acted his ass off in
Yeah,
that movie.
he did. He did.
Anyway,
Bruce Willis is in that, right?
yeah, technically.
So I was going through I think that you listened to it too, our third episode of The Nut Farm, and I was laughing hysterically because every other sentence, it was like, what's their name? Who's this? Like, are we suffering from dementia already with our
Sundowners?
yeah, with the Sundowners? But I already know what Sundowners is. I asked you what that was. But I feel like every single thing I kept asking you, like, wait, what? Can't remember who is that? Who did this? And I'm gonna really try and have my facts ready this episode so I don't have to Google anything or retrack and ask or pause not knowing something.
I don't make any promises, so you're probably gonna keep doing it forever.
I just try to be my best self every single podcast.
I love that for you.
Okay, let's talk about comedy show.
Oh, what a hoot.
We went up to Flagstaff and saw our girl entitled Housewife, Becky Robinson.
Yeah.
Is it Robinson or Robinson
Robinson.
with an N?
Yeah.
Oh, boom. Okay. She was fantastic. I feel like you and I laughed at very different things. Like
So true.
you laughed for pretty much the whole first half, and I laughed for pretty much the whole second. So give your critique on our girl.
Okay, so I've just seen her entitled Housewife stuff that you send me on Instagram. Funny, like really, really funny.
So funny.
But she split the show. So she did half the show as Becky and half the show as entitled.
Mhm.
I think I preferred the Becky. She was so funny.
She
She's a stand-up comic in her own right, and entitled Housewife is just one of her characters. But I loved it. I thought she was hilariously funny.
Yeah, I did too.
Mhm.
Do you think that she's a little bit of a ballerina? Like she's a good dancer.
She's a great dancer.
She's a great dancer, but I also think that she's been ballerinaed before.
Oh, you think she's classically trained?
Yeah,
Here's the cop again. I'm gonna mark my tire. Skadoosh, man.
I think we're at G-Soul, and so we can see out where our parking is, and then the 3-hour parking guide goes by. I think it's all computerized now
It is?
because I don't see any chalk. Anyways, we digress. People can't see this.
Don't touch my car. Like, don't touch my stuff.
You get so fired up. I'm like, go ahead, whatever.
I'm a whole new woman. I just bought a "Don't Tread on Me" shirt on eBay this morning. Yeah,
I can't
I
believe
will not
that.
be silenced anymore.
That's hysterical. I love that for you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue with entitled. So
Okay.
she's a great dancer.
Yeah.
We think that she may or may not be classically trained in ballerina isms, and so funny.
Yeah, and when she did entitled, and she was just like bringing people up on the stage to
Mhm.
dance with her and like twerk with her.
Oh, chill.
Oh, Jill, man, so she's like, yeah, the last three venues wouldn't allow me to do this. And I was like, huh. And then like once it started ensuing, I was like, now I get it because these bitches were hammered.
Murdered
Like
drunk.
this one, this one girl, Jill, me and Gretchen, like she walked up and she was just like wobbly all over the place. And even Becky was like, "Oh God, you stand here so I can size you up to see if I can be up here." And
100%.
Jill was just like,
And
"Oh."
she hung on. Jill hung on. I couldn't relax for the rest of the show. That was probably like the last 5 minutes of the show. And I was like a nervous wreck
And
for
I didn't
Jill.
see that. I did not see that coming from her. I mean, she had her like graduated bob
Yeah.
haircut with
Yep.
her like puffer vest that said golf and her like Chico's jeans and
Yeah.
some comfy but still kind of stylish tennies. I was like, no, there's no way she's this hammered right now.
Yeah.
And what Becky's like, how much do you have to drink, Jill? She's like, a lot.
I think she kept wanting to like touch everybody and
Oh, she kept like assaulting that one guy. So
Yeah.
Becky chose this young man to come up there because like that's funny. Let's see what he's gonna do. And also great dancer. Shout out to all the great dancers out there.
Mhm.
And
And ballsy.
yeah, and she made him take his shirt off, like just to be funny, you know. And so Jill comes behind him and just does this reach around, and she's just like
Reach around up
squeezing
top.
up. Yeah, yeah. I'm so sorry. That's a really important point to clarify. Reach around up top in the pectoral region, and she just starts like bouncing his pecs,
so
bouncing,
weird.
squeeze, like hard. I see like his skin changing from pink to white. And I'm like, okay, you're like hurting this person.
Right.
And I just kept staring at that. And at that point in time, when like the assault started happening,
Right.
I just, my chest, you know how you say your chest goes, and it just
Yeah.
like tightened up into a fossil.
Right.
And I like grab your arm and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And we're both just like cringing to death.
Cringing, like won't release.
No.
And he was a really, really good sport. And so was his wife.
Yeah.
But I was like, Jill.
And I don't know, I don't normally stand up for men. But I was like, okay, that's like that's inappropriate for this man. Like, you know.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And then the other lady that came up was she was killing it too.
Oh, she was in her own little world.
She did
Pop
it.
in, lock in.
Did you see she did a forward fold? I don't even know what this, it was like a forward fold twerk. And
yeah,
it was something.
Yeah. So we loved it. It was great.
It was really good, really good. Really, really good. The other, I think I told you that I was gonna do this, but I actually did. I saw this one thing that was like, well, you know, when you see somebody that regardless of how great they are professionally or whatever they put out, you love them for their soul.
Mhm.
Well, Cheeseball Gretchen, I just thought of her when I read that little meme and I sent it to her and I said, hey, we went to your,
No, don't tell me this.
I love somebody, I'm gonna let them know.
Okay, go.
And so
Let me get.
I sent
Okay.
the meme to her Instagram. And I just said, hey, we were in Flagstaff and I just wanted to let you know we had such a great time and this made me think of you.
Like it's neither here nor there. We were the two blonde bombshells in the seventh row, but whatever.
But I just said thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for your goodness.
Did she respond?
No. No.
She's a very busy woman.
Yeah.
She might need a day or two.
Yeah. But either way, she was a doll. I loved her little soul. I loved, not only was she hysterical, but you could tell that she's like real nice.
Yeah.
Like I would just want to hang out with her.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like during that whole last bit where everybody got up there and was dancing, you could tell she was like, concerned.
Yeah.
You know, like she wanted to have fun and she didn't want to embarrass them, but she was also like,
yeah, now I see why.
like, we good?
We need to have a breathalyzer before, so we can at least be like a 0.15.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's not a lot for people. People get surprised with the, I'm like,
What my highest was, it was probably like a deuce and a half.
oh, I thought it was, you want to know mine?
Yeah.
0.4.
So that's
So
over 4 times the legal limit.
Oh, yeah. So we came home from the bar one night and somebody had a breathalyzer and we did breathalyzers and it was like 0.43. When I went into one of my treatments, I blew a 0.41 or something insane and I drove there. Oh, yeah. People are like, you're so little. And I'm like, but mighty bitches, but mighty.
Holy shit.
I know. It's crazy.
But so that led me to think, because everybody there was so drunk. And when we stepped out, it was like, you know, we're in Flag, it's 26 degrees or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, Grit, do you think like in places like this, people get so hammered drunk and then they pass out like in an alley and then they freeze to death?
Yes.
She's like, yeah, what a sad way to go
yeah.
on multiple levels.
In my head, I feel like it'd be peaceful. Like it'd be sad because they die, but like it's kind of a nice,
Oh, like pain. Yeah, pain wise,
like,
gentle for
oh,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no hangover.
And so this is
Unless you live in hell.
right. In Alaska, like that's a real thing that they are
Right.
concerned about. Not only are the natives up there more susceptible to alcoholism and addiction and all of that,
Mhm.
but they like it's freezing cold.
Mhm.
And so most of the villages, I know that like my brothers from another mother lived up there. So they would tell me stories about, and they lived in I believe what was called a damp community.
Mhm.
So they didn't sell alcohol
Mm.
and booze there, but alcohol and beer, but they could get it shipped in. But
Okay.
there's other villages around that were dry. Like you couldn't, if you got caught with alcohol, you'd get in trouble.
Yeah, I
For that
remember
reason.
that being the way in when I lived in Texas. There were a couple dry counties.
Oh, no joke.
Yeah, it was a thing. And you like couldn't buy like hard alcohol at all in some of them. And then others it was like, I don't know, but it was county to county, which is bizarre to me. Like what's the point?
Right. You just go across the county line.
Yeah.
What's your take on 3-2 beers? Like in Utah? Have you ever gotten drunk? Well, it's nearly impossible to
3-2 what?
Have you ever heard of them? 3-2 beers?
No.
So it's like less alcohol beers. So there's like they're Coors Lights, they're Bud Lights, they're all the normal beers, but
Yeah.
in Utah, they make them have less alcohol. So basically you can try real hard to get drunk on 3-2 beers, but it's not happening.
Is it a brand called 3-2 beer?
That's just what the alcohol ratio is.
I think it's a ploy by the company to sell more beers because people are still going to search for that drunk.
Mm-hmm.
So if it takes 10 instead of 6,
Yeah. Right. Could be Mormons with the beer companies working together.
sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Sorry.
Here's the topic that I kind of wanted to touch on today, and it might be controversial, but it's what it is, what it is. So you and I don't drink. You and I have very different stories, some similarities, some differences. When I drink, I can't stop. That's
Mhm.
that's my thing. Like
Yeah.
it's not like a binge thing. Well, I mean, it's everything combined. Like I don't stop. My brain will not let me stop. I get an obsession and then my forgetter turns on and it's like, oh, it'll be fine this one time. Or I'm just going to feel fine right now and then I'll stop tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And then 5 years later, I'm still saying the same exact thing. So I know that I cannot put a drop of alcohol in my body because I can't stop when I do so. And I'll let you speak on that if you want to. But now being sober is like a fad. Like people stop drinking is like the cool thing to do. And it's a whole nother show on that and I need to get healthy on this idea because I'm like, you didn't earn not stopping drinking.
Oh,
Like I get kind of duked up. Like it's a real thing for alcoholics and drug addicts to stop doing what they're doing.
right.
And it makes me feel a certain kind of way when people are like, oh, I'm sober curious. I'm just going to stop drinking because this might be fun.
Sober curious.
And then if like a month later, you see them getting hammered on Instagram or something like that and being like, oh. But I digress. If somebody wants to be healthier and not drink, I am your biggest supporter on that. But it is, like I said, it does make me feel a certain kind of way that it's becoming trendy when it was not trendy for me in my head. So this brings me to my question.
Yeah.
Do you think people should drink?
Here's the thing. I don't really give a shit what other people do.
Fair.
As long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't care.
Fair.
So like if you want to have this big like grandstand, I'm not drinking anymore and you really never had a problem, like I don't give a shit. I just don't like, I don't know. And I had the same thing. Like I couldn't go out and just have like 2 drinks. No. I could go in with that intention,
Mhm.
but then when that next one hit,
The fun started.
I wanted more fun. I wanted more fun. I wanted more good. I wanted more, and I want it now.
Yep.
Which is bad for anything. So
I'm very and I hope this isn't too much to say. I'm really, really happy that white stuff didn't cross your path.
no, I never messed with drugs. It was just booze.
I did accidentally, not really accidentally, but that was a part of my story as well. And you know what? The crazy part is there was a part where my family called me out on doing cocaine
Mhm.
and they were like, Gretchen, are you doing drugs? And I was like, yeah. And they said, are you going to stop? And I said, yeah. And they're like, okay. Because if not, we're going to tell.
Like,
Yeah, I think
I'll get to that.
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
But yes, of course.
It's on my list.
Yes, of course, I will stop doing that. And then I definitely slowed down, but it was still there. But the mind F of it was like, I could slow down and stop that, like all the other stuff, but booze had a hold of me on a whole nother level.
Mhm.
Like it was quite remarkable. But people have asked me this question, and if I keep kicking you, you don't have to move. You're good.
Okay.
Don't think that you're in my way. I just keep fidgeting. I just need to keep going. So people ask me, do you think, knowing that I'm an alcoholic in recovery, do you think people in general shouldn't drink? And my first answer is, first of all, that's not my call to make.
Yeah.
I'm not here to do that. But I will tell you that if you're striving to be the best human that you possibly can be, and you're working towards your highest self, that's not going to help. That will hinder you. You will never reach your full potential if you are putting, this is the country, any amount of alcohol in your body. It is, I truly, truly believe that. And there's so many like normal drinkers out there. And even those normal drinkers, I see and feel their dysfunction and what they're trying to hide, even in that one glass of wine or in that one social cocktail or whatever.
Mhm.
Like, and this is part of being an empath and feeling things and seeing things so clearly that I don't like, because I would like to be like you. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm out. Like, live your life. And ultimately, I process myself into that scenario. Like, it's their journey. It's not mine. I'm going to retreat. Not my monkey, not my circus. However, I feel them and I'm like, I know that you're trying to do good and I know that you're trying to but like that one, when you're taking that exhale and drinking that glass of alcohol or glass of alcohol.
I'd like a glass of
I'd like
alcohol,
a glass
please.
of alcohol. I'm so glad that you threw. I'll have a glass of alcohol, please.
Like a glass of alcohol.
It's
It's a 7 and 7. You'll like it. It's sweet.
then she pats her. Then it's hiding something, it's masking something, it's numbing you from something. And that drives me bananas because I can feel them being a prisoner in their own body. So that's my,
See, but you have this like lovely desire to help people.
I think you do too. You have a desire to bring joy.
I guess, but like, okay, so everybody, this was not what we were supposed to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it right now. I got here early and Gretchen was teaching her class to a lovely group of people that were recovering from something. And the way she sits and speaks to these people and helps them through and process is like amazing. And you dedicate so much of your time to helping other people. And I think that that's really quite special.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was also me getting vulnerable. So put a check mark there.
That's a big check. I love you.
Yes.
You're the best. And I mean, I love what I get to do, but it also helps me stay sober.
Yeah.
It's a gigantic thing.
Yeah.
And, but it is hard. I mean, it is taxing. There's what keeps dinging? Hopefully
I don't
people
know.
at home can't hear the
I
ding.
hope not.
It gets heavy sometimes, but the good outweighs the bad always.
Yeah.
Always, because you see these beautiful people having epiphanies and you can see like them getting freedom and like all of it is the most rewarding thing to me ever. I really like it. But I also think that you are very strategic with your helping. Like you pick a person luckily I'm on the end of this, a lot
On
of
the
it.
short list.
On the end of this, where you give and you give everything. And you're mindful about what can I help? What would be the most strategic thing? What did this person need the most right now? And I know that you're that way in your family. You know, you like you set up, you're just as we've said together before, off air, like you're the matriarch, you are the staple in the home. And there's something so fantastic to be said about that as well.
Well, thanks.
So let's do this real fast. Now that we're talking about you devoting your life to my passions. I'm going to give Missy her first box of business cards that say Missy Stern, Chief Operating Officer of gsoulco.com.
Wow. What an honor.
There you go, my love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Didn't even have a speech prepared. These are great.
You can come up with something, I'm sure.
I just really very much enjoy running this company with you. When I first met you and I saw what you were doing, I go, this is a good one right here. She's a real one. She's doing something very brave, something very creative, and something that I have to be a part of. And I felt this just desire and draw to be in it, to be a part of it.
Mhm.
And then from there, we just kind of like became what we are, but
Right.
like who else was doing it? Like no one, you do things that no one does.
Oh, that's
And it's like, you're always like, I don't get why you want to hang out with me. I don't get why you want to do this. And I'm like, because who wouldn't?
you're the best.
You're so much fun and so cool. And just like, we have so much in common. And like, it's the funnest thing.
Yeah.
It's a great honor for me in my life.
I remember when you came over to my house for the first time, or maybe it was even an order, but you bought a ton of G-Sol, maybe like $300 worth of G-Sol.
Sure.
And I looked at you and I'm like, why are you spending this much money here? Why are you buying all this stuff? And and this circles back to even episode 1 where we talked about like I had to surrender to your love. I had to let
Mhm.
you in. And now it's just like the most beautiful thing that we just keep doing. But you said the word that I really want to focus on for the serious portion of our thing,
Yeah.
which is courage.
Yeah.
Like courage has come up over and over and over again. And it takes courage to be vulnerable, like you just said. It takes courage to start something new. And even in my recovery center today, we talked a lot about like what we want
Mhm.
and being courageous enough to ask ourselves, what do I want? Not what do I need? Like I need water, I need food, I
Mhm.
need these things. And
X-Files.
what's X-Files?
X-Files.
I know what X-Files is, but
And it's a need.
oh,
We were listing off needs there.
gotcha.
Just
Oh,
kidding.
you
It was my
need-
attempt at a joke.
Oh, I thought that was in X-Files. And I was
No.
like, oh, so I'm being X-Filey right now?
No, but well, kind of.
But so the wants are like, what do I want in a job? What do I want in a partner? What do I want materialistically? What do I want? I would hope that eventually our like emotional well-being would be a need versus a want. But I mean, we can even start, I even encourage one of the clients, like if your emotional needs start or emotional wants start out as a want versus a need, that's okay. All that matters is that you get the whole train started.
Mhm.
Like you get it moving. But it does. I mean, courage there's people view courage as the go-go, as I like to call it, like being in motion and taking more of like the masculine side of it. But all of the slow, all of like the gentleness and the tenderness and the nurturing and the love and the I have a thing in my throat, like I'm going to cry.
You can cry.
But it takes so much courage, and I get to see it every single day in the recovery centers that I teach in, because it's a big deal for people, especially that have walls and boundaries or not boundaries, walls and walls and layers of defense mechanisms holding them back. So one moment of vulnerability it's so courageous. And I hope that people can start to view that so the courage can actually empower them to do more instead of
Yeah.
come out of their shell real fast, be a little bit vulnerable, be a little bit courageous here and there, sprinkling of it, and then retract right back into their turtle shell.
Yeah.
let's just stay out,
Mm-hmm.
freak flag fly, vulnerable, authentic. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Period.
End of story. Well, not end of story because we're gonna keep talking.
That's my two.
But okay, back to why would okay, so this is what's funny to me about you. You are always like, and this goes back to the masculine. Why? Why? Why would you know? Why did you do it? And I'm like, my answer is because I wanted to. Because
Yeah.
I want to. And I don't know if that flippant, like I just go on what I want to do. It's more like the feminine versus the masculine.
Yeah.
So we kind of each like whenever we have a discussion about work or whatever, we always have to like calibrate to each other, and then we find a happy medium right in the middle.
Right. Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. And the funniest part is that like I enjoy being in the clouds more.
Yeah.
I enjoy floating, and we joke about this all the time. Like Steve is the one that's holding on to my ankle while I'm floating up into the sky, and he's like, "All right, great, you can stay up there for a little bit, but I'm gonna hold you so you don't completely float away." And and I know that it has to do with how I grew up with the receiving the love part, or being worried that like a good thing is going to go away and it's going to end.
Yeah.
And then you just keep staying and just keep like reassuring me. And so I just keep getting rid of those fears. Like you're going to go away.
Yeah. I can tell sometimes when you're like, you start to like panic, and I'm like, I'm not going to leave you. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. That's so true. I love when you say that to me. Oh, needy little bitch over
Oh
here.
my gosh, where did this go? Let's get back to the funny stuff.
Let's
Yeah,
get back
like
to the
it.
funny stuff. Okay. Let's talk about Dolce and
Heck yeah.
Skims.
Heck yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
So as many of you have probably seen Kim K. And when I said I don't watch reality TV, that was not entirely accurate. I do watch the Kardashians because I live in the English speaking world and have a pulse. So everyone else does. And so we know about the beef that goes back with Kim v. Courtney
Yeah.
v. Dolce & Gabbana. Wedding stole my style. Dumbest fight ever.
Yeah, but
Yes. Like pissed.
Yeah.
Like I was wearing lace. Or like shut the fuck up. Like nothing is
Agreed.
new and nothing is fresh in fashion. It's
Agreed.
all just redone in different ways and different orders.
Agreed.
So anyways, who cares about that? But they all collab together. Well, at least I know Courtney's in the campaign. I don't know who was in charge or whatever, but Kim, Courtney, Dolce & Gabbana, Skims collab.
Yes.
Checked it out, liking it, was liking it. And I got an email yesterday. It was like, back up, back online. So I pop in. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get a bralette. I don't know. You know, like looking at everything is sold out, except for I got this leopard bustier bodysuit.
Boom.
So yeah, that happened.
We'll have to do a review on it once you get it.
Oh, maybe I could wear it on the pod next time.
Done.
So I'm excited about that.
So as on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about the campaign, the collab, all of the goodness that's coming with Skims and Dolce?
I like it. I think it's all real obvious. There's nothing super exciting out there, but I think it's, you know, everybody knew leopard or cheetah or whatever that is was going to be big this fall, winter. But I think it's classic stuff that you can keep and that you can wear. You know, the cuts, they do like black, white, leopard in various different styles. It's all pretty cute. Nothing that's going to really burn the house down, but also some good staple pieces. So, you know.
And what about the marketing? I'm not super into the marketing that they did. What did you call it? Marie Antoinette?
No, it was giving like Sofia Vergara.
Oh, okay. Like big.
No, not Sofia Vergara. Sophia Loren.
Yeah.
Sophia Loren, like, you know, late 60s, I think, early 70s hairstyles, like Italy, you know, riding around on a Vespa, smoking a cigarette on a patio.
I'm into that.
Dark, moody kind of thing. I don't think it was executed that great. But you know, it was good, solid effort. What I really think turned out great is Miley's.
Yes.
Yeah, being featured in their fall winter 2024 what she's giving is like eating it all up, 0 crumbs left on the table.
Yes, agreed with that. Agreed.
She's in a structured suit in one of the, and I'm like, oh man,
Those little lace face things,
the lace,
the
the
mask.
yeah.
What do you call those?
Well, does she have like a little fascinator on with a little veil in the front?
Veil.
Like a little,
Yes. Did you have a veil for your wedding dress?
yes, I did.
I didn't, and I'm kicking myself for it. I wish I would've
really?
had a veil. Yeah. I was not well at that juncture of my life.
Is it pigtails?
Yeah. Steve loved my pigtail braids. And so,
I just really love where Miley's at right now with her personal style.
mhm.
I saw this, I reposted this video of her covering like a prayer on my Instagram
I watched all of it 3 times.
and her cowboy hat with the jacket in the Gucci little number underneath. I was like,
Mhm.
give me that outfit right
Oh
now.
my God, I have goosebumps right now, even hearing it in my head, like watching her. I don't know why I'm kind of weird about like watching people's mouths move. It's very like satisfying to me. Like if somebody has good mouth movement or like then their teeth are and like all of it, I just
Mhm.
get mesmerized by people's mouth. And she has one of those when she sings
Yeah.
that I'm like all in.
She's
for
like
it.
the queen of covers. Every cover she does is
Mhm.
fire.
Mhm.
She covers Jolene.
Mhm.
Incredible.
Mhm.
She does a cover of a Metallica song. I can't remember the name of it right now, but so good. This cover, like, and then
Yeah.
she has more that I've found on the internet, like random live cover of, you know, a Blondie song or whatever. And
Yeah.
they're all so good.
Mhm.
I love her. I love where she's at. She seems very healthy.
Yeah.
She seems very content.
Yeah.
Like she knows who she is and
Mhm.
what she wants to do.
Yeah.
And that's that. She's not all, I mean, I liked chaotic, like bangers, Miley as well. There, you know, there's always going to be a place in my heart
Mhm.
for the tongue out and the teddy bears and all
Yeah.
that jazz. But
I think that's still her though. I think that
Yeah.
was her moving into it. You know how like sometimes, of course, fucking serious Gretchen coming in with the fucking personal development. But like sometimes we have to swing to extremes when we're trying to
Mhm.
change and trying to evolve, and then we toot back into a little bit more balance.
yeah,
But I think maybe that, and I mean, she openly admits how much weed she was smoking at that point in time.
yeah,
So that's, but I mean, I love that era. The part that didn't feel authentic to me, and maybe it was just that part of her life was like the Malibu.
oh, okay.
And now she talks about like, now I get to have the best of both worlds. You know, I'm like, wow, but I still get to
Like
be,
Hannah Montana.
yes.
Best of both worlds.
How is it that she has, like, she had Billy Ray as a dad,
Yep.
and then she was in all of these, she was Disney's, right?
Uh-huh.
So so she
Yeah.
was in Disney, and then she gets super, super famous for her own career, and
Mhm.
she's still not totally jacked. Like she hasn't imploded. She's not like giving us, love Britney Spears, my little Britney, my little Britney. Like she hasn't done
Brit.
that.
What's happening? Is it just drugs there? Like what is okay, so my guess combination mental illness, bad medication / drug use.
Mhm.
But that's a disaster.
It's like a scary disaster.
I feel like she could go at any time.
Agreed. I do too. Like to the point where and this is trivial, but I can't follow her on Instagram. Like I feel her and I can't watch that train wreck.
Yeah, I don't
love
think
her
I
too
can
much.
either. She's just, it's like, and the way she talk, have you noticed how she'll go on these long rants or like written rant? The way she talks is like an alien. Like
Yes,
she
like a robot.
almost like English is her second language or something. I'm like, is she
Yes.
that uneducated or like how do you become?
Right. But then I watched the Madonna, Christina Aguilera kiss again. When did that pop up?
The VMAs from like
Yeah,
2000 or something.
forever ago.
Mhm.
And the way that she would talk back then, it's so different. So it has to be meds. It has to be like kind of an implosion of mental health. And
Mhm.
I just love her. But I mean, just circling back to Miley, like I love her. I love her very, very much.
Me too.
I think she's fantastic.
Yep.
Um,
Stand so hard.
Let's talk about, you want to talk about the fight?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, once again, my feelers are
Yeah.
too intense for most human interaction. And I was so proud that Mike Tyson got up there and was fighting and stood the test of time and made it all the rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that, I mean, I think that Jake Paul could have murdered him and knocked him out easily at the end. But that didn't happen, and that's okay, and that makes me feel good. But it was like by the end, my heart hurt so badly because I could just feel how tired he was. And
His legs were just, he had nothing on his
Nothing.
legs.
but he's still like, but he just kept fighting, and I asked myself, like, why? And my heart hopes that it's for his own, like, oh, for his own, like, I did it and I'm proud of myself, his own internal.
Yeah.
And then Steve always just says millions of dollars. That's what it's for, is for millions of dollars. But maybe it can be a double whammy.
I was really entertained by the undercards, I will say,
What's that?
like the fights that happened before.
Oh, yeah, I heard
There
those.
was
I
some
didn't watch
really
those.
good action in those, especially the fight between the two chicks.
Mm-hmm,
Don't come at me for calling them chicks, but I think what's her name? Moreno?
mm-hmm.
How did she win? Or how did she lose that fight? Like that was this is what this Adam always goes on. This is what you get for having a fight in Texas, like the Texas Commission. Because
Oh.
we used to be big boxing fans. We used to
No.
have boxing all the time.
No.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big boxing fans. So this kind of stuff goes down in Texas, but like she was robbed. That was ridiculous. But then the fight before them, that was a great fight too. And they should have a rematch because that was some good action. But
Mhm.
yeah, in terms of Tyson and Paul?
Mhm.
Is his first name Paul?
Jake.
Jake Paul.
Mhm.
First of all, I don't know like who that is. And Eli's like, he's an influencer and he's
Right.
got a brother named
thought
something
Logan
Paul.
Paul-
Yeah, that. And I'm like, okay. So going into it, I'm like, this is gonna be dumb.
Mhm.
This is a dumb
But they're
publicity
fighters,
stunt.
though.
Yeah.
They may be influencers, but they're fighters, right? I mean, they have to be. They
I
can
think
fuck
he like
Tyson.
became a boxer later.
Oh.
So on one hand, I was excited to see Tyson back out there.
Yeah, me too.
I remember being a kid and watching the Tyson Holyfield fight when he bit his ears.
I was in Vegas.
Like that for me is like a core memory.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And he's Tyson back in his heyday. My
Mhm.
God.
Mhm.
Like, and he's still scary. Like,
yeah.
scary dude.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see him out there.
Yeah. Me too.
And in the first couple rounds, I was like, oh, snap.
Right.
Like, wait a second
He
here.
was hanging in there.
He was. And then he kind of gassed out. And I think it was honorable of whatever his name was, Paul, to not knock him out
Right.
because he could. I think it showed like a level of respect to
Agreed.
go the distance with him in a way that way he wouldn't be hurt and like horribly
Right.
mangled or whatever. So like, okay, but it did towards the end when I saw Tyson kind of, like dismantling, I was like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
this feels icky. This feels very like," and I was texting with my friend Tara and she's like, shout out to Tara. She's like, our whole life is a Black Mirror episode. It's so true. Like, what are we doing? What is happening?
Right.
But then I kind of have to fly back up
Mhm.
and look at it. This is a great opportunity for him and his family. Like,
Yeah.
talk about set him up for the rest of his life.
Mhm.
If it were me, and this is, we got to talking to Adam and Eli about this, like, would I go in there and get my ass beat for 10, 12 rounds for $20 million? You bet your ass I would.
Same.
And I wouldn't give a shit what anybody said
Yeah.
because I'm doing it for my family. I'm
Right.
doing it. It's fun to get back in there. He's
Mhm.
always a fighter. They're always a fighter at their heart.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had a good time.
Agreed.
He got back in as good a shape as he could. And that,
Mhm.
for me, it's a win-win. And like, I'd be
Agreed.
like, you know what, y'all? You can save your pity for somebody else because I just took home $20 million.
Right.
He
Right.
kissed and his naked butt. Did you see that?
I loved
Like,
that.
what?
He just doesn't care. I've seen him on so many different podcasts and everything where he talks about his mental health and how he's like forgiven people. And he had Steve told me this, like he had some really rotten people around him that really screwed him over
Yeah.
early on.
Yeah.
And didn't or just didn't protect him
Mhm.
like people should maybe. And so now I'm hoping that he has a good crew around him now. But I mean, I've heard him talk so much about not giving his power away. And if he lets anything, in a good way, like get to him, he's not, then that person has his power and
Yeah.
he is rough.
I don't think he's the old fool in this scenario. I think
Mhm.
he was like, "Shh, is he
Yeah.
gonna beat my ass? Probably not that bad though, because you know he still has some faith in himself and his skills and his ability to take a punch.
How about this too? Like he kept, like when they dodge their heads side to side, I feel like they're in the Matrix. And he
Right.
did a lot of that. And maybe it was for
He's-
show because I don't know a whole heap of
He's
boxing.
an amazing boxer, and I'm not gonna let myself feel sorry for him.
Mhm.
In the moment, it felt weird, but then I had a little chit chat, and I was
Mhm.
like, nope, he knows what he's doing. He's a
Right.
grown ass man, and he's out there and he's providing for his family. And it's not like it was an embarrassment. He landed some good punches.
Yeah.
Like win-win,
At 58 years old.
win-win.
Right. Yeah.
So go Tyson.
Go
Respect
Tyson.
to you.
I love you.
Respect to Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Paul.
Jake
Paul. I think they put on a good show. I should show you the picture I sent Tara when I was watching. When Paul came out,
Uh-huh.
he was in like some sort of vehicle
Uh-huh.
and he was like, wasn't
I
there
didn't see the beginning part of it. I only saw like the last 3 rounds,
there was
which
a
was probably enough for my heart to handle.
there it is. I said, what the fuck is happening? He came out in like I don't know, some car with like a bird cage and like
Oh, weird.
I was just like, what?
What's happening?
What's happening?
That's a funny way to come out.
It's really strange.
What just happened to the standard walk up?
I don't know.
Boxing with your cape on. Don't they wear capes?
Sometimes.
Did they? Nobody even had shiny
Oh,
pants
look at
on.
the Segway tour.
Oh, hey guys.
Who does that?
Safety first. There's
Got
a
our helmets on.
helmets and segways going by G-Soul. I want to add a new segment to our podcast.
Let it rip.
Because we talk grind my gears is one of our favorite segments that we do.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like that gets just a little bit negative.
Really?
It's always negative. Like I like to live in the solution. So I want to add
I like to rot
no,
in the turmoil.
so the name is a work in progress, but it's of the essence of restoring our faith in humanity and renew our hope in humanity, reignite our trust in people, reaffirm our belief in the goodness of others. I don't know really where we're going to take this, but it's going to be a new segment coming up.
Okay.
Is anything happened recently that restores your faith in humanity?
No. You go.
Mine's cheesy, but it's so true. Like every single time I tell my clients this all the time. At one point in time, I was working in like 5+ recovery centers. All of them were packed. All of the people, all of the clients were working their tail off to be better humans. So I go into those settings and even my class that I did this morning here, and I look at all of them in their faces and I'm like, God, this is good. This is restoring. We are the people who are raising the vibration and counteracting all of the goofy. I was trying to, what was I trying to say? Goofy and a different word.
Crazy?
Yes. Combined. Like we're counterbalancing that. And that restores my faith in all of it and gives me faith and knows, and it reminds me that we're not going to hell in a handbasket because of people and my clients that work their tail off to better themselves and improve their family and reach, be their highest selves for sure.
So you believe then that people are inherently good?
Yes,
Okay.
I do. I'm guessing that's not the same for you. To speak on it, I think it's interesting. I really to my core believe that. And here's another, so there's like our own life of experiences that lead us to possibly doing bad. But I also believe that we're born with generational trauma. So bad, air quotes, can come even from past generations that are brought to this life. That we have the opportunity to work through, be good, not be good. But I think for the most part, people's hearts, they want to be good. They just don't know how to be good sometimes, or haven't been afforded the platform to be good. Let me hear you. That's a good.
Good talk. Good. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think people are inherently flawed.
Okay.
I think and if there's no mental illness or abuse or some sort of social conditioning to make you so inclined to behave dysfunctionally,
Mhm.
people I think will generally try to do what's right.
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of mental illness out there,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of neglect,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of situational factors that unfortunately would mold somebody into something that they might not have been if they were raised in a different situation.
Totally agree. Totally agree. CB and I were watching Intervention. Remember that show?
Oh yeah, yeah. When I'm feeling like I really want to punch myself in the guts, I just turn on intervention
Just turn on
and just
Intervention.
sit.
So there was one episode that we were watching that Steve was like, "Oh, he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. He's not going to go. He doesn't want it." And I paused and I was like, "He doesn't want to be like that. He doesn't want to be like he just it's such like a far-fetched thing to think about getting sober and like doing those things that it's not even on a lot of people's radar or scope on how to do it, or that it's even something that they could do or something that they would want to do, because on the other side of taking a substance out of your body, it's very, 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 very scary. And I always say that self-love is the way to not only get sober but stay sober, because without self-love you don't give a rip about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go do things that self-sabotage, like put booze and drugs in your body. But I told him, and he like it, and Steve doesn't pause and contemplate a lot, but this one kind of stopped him in his tracks, and he's like, I've never thought of it that way. I'm like, totally. It's not something that he not something that he here comes back to our beginning of our topics. This isn't something that he wants, or he or she
Yeah.
wants.
I want to believe that people are good, and I think individually, a lot of people can be good.
Mhm.
But I think when people get together
Mm,
into big groups,
yeah,
it's scary and dangerous.
totally.
Because even if that's not, a lot of people think like, oh, rather be at the right hand of the devil than in his path.
Mm,
So there's the issue of self-preservation that a lot of times will put people at odds with like their deeper beliefs and sense of morality and
Right.
social conduct. So there's just so many factors out there that come into play to, affect how people respond to the world. And so I don't know. It's hard out there.
It is. It is. But I feel like enter why I feel so passionately about doing this podcast and doing the other work and the other. I find it fun and interesting and fascinating and rewarding. But if I can inspire one person to go and be an individual and live in their own safe space and do their own thing and have their own views and their own truths, then they can find a community that they can connect with, but that community is not going to be their identity as all of the other like culty mass groups that are out there.
I love a cult. I love to learn about them.
Not being them.
Haven't found the right one yet. Just kidding. No.
Did you just see my face?
She was
You guys have that written all over.
really concerned.
Or I was like, I'll be in a cult with you. Like that was where I'm also. I'm like, wait, what about? Can we just say two? Can there be two people in a cult?
I love watching all the cult shows. I find it so fascinating.
Yeah,
And I
it's
love taking a look at a cult
Mhm.
leader because they're always like a megalomaniac.
Oh,
They're super charming. And it's
Ugh.
just like, let me take a look at you.
mm.
What's going on in there? And I love a female cult leader.
I've never seen one of those.
Oh, you didn't watch Mother God?
I'll look it up.
You and Steve need to watch that. You would enjoy it thoroughly.
Really?
It's so weird.
Or
It's
is it like inbreeders?
no, I can't even
I'll
really
look it up.
explain it
Mother
to you.
God.
Mother God.
Let me write it down.
That's a great story. But yeah, I don't know. I think the world really needs people like you to kind of keep us all going and keep us from pulling the proverbial trigger
Mm,
because it's can get dark,
yeah.
you know? But I can't argue with the fact that I do see light and I see miracles and I see things happen. So I'm just, you're just at odds. You're
Yeah.
always at odds.
Yeah. But it's like, have you heard the thing, where they say, what wolf are you gonna feed? You have like an evil wolf and or you have a negative wolf and you have a positive wolf. It's more eloquent. I slaughter these every single time I try and say them. But it's like, what wolf are you gonna feed? Are you gonna, so where are you gonna put your focus? Are you gonna put your focus on the light and the goodness and the positivity? And this does not mean that you are naive or ignorant to the negative that happens, because we have to be. With no dark, there is no light. But I choose to just really stay in the positive and the gratitude and that kind of, because the other one doesn't make me feel good. The other one makes me psycho.
Yeah, that's as my friend Connor, shout out to Connor,
Connor.
puts it, as I tell him how I like true crime and I watch all this,
Yeah.
he's like, why do you gotta stare down into the void? And I'm
Oh,
like, don't say stuff like that to me. He's like, no, you can't stare into the void.
uh-uh.
And so I have to always fight that.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like if I confront it and let it in, then
Yeah.
it's not as like, it won't surprise me. For me, it's like
I
the
get that.
fear of being surprised or caught off guard
Mm-hmm.
makes me want to die. So if I think that I like make space and let all this in
Mm-hmm.
and I got my arms around it,
Totally.
you're hugging it, then it can't get you.
Yeah.
But it also drags you down
Yeah.
and will drown you.
Yeah.
So
What about adding something to your mindfulness that says, like, I'm capable? So anything that gets lobbed up at you, anything scary, or doomsday prepping, what about the idea that you would be capable of handling it? And
I've
not
been
only
doing that
Good.
and it's made a huge good difference.
good,
Yeah.
because you will never be dealt anything that you can't deal with. Not only deal with it, but deal with it with grace and ease and calm. It doesn't always have to be so chaotic. We're the ones that make it chaotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I tell you what, there's one person that I would go into battle with, and it would be you, because you do have all of those things. But we don't have to like control the situation to find our safety. We get to surrender to the situation and know that we're protected.
That's what I'm working on right now. And it's hard, but once you do it and then you see, oh, I am I will survive. I don't have to do that. I don't have to have this like ritual in my mind where I prepare myself for this because if I don't, I'll get caught off guard and then I don't know what will happen.
Right.
You just
Surrender, baby.
yeah,
Free bird energy right
free
there.
bird.
That's free bird energy. Free bird. Let's go. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
Damn.
Thanks.
What can I do?
You could do everything.
Maybe I don't need to do anything today. I don't need to.
Exactly. You do like 500,000 things every day. You are the most active person. You're like one of those, what are the dogs that are like a working dog? Like you got the
Weimaraner?
jobs. Yeah.
St. Bernard?
Yeah.
Doberman?
Yeah. Or like,
Dalmatian?
what are the
Just
ones
kidding.
no, I'm getting like Australian Shepherd.
Oh,
Like you wake up, got a job, you do all these things, you hit the ground running, and then your job only ends like late in the day. And then you get up and you keep going and you fight the good fight and you do all the things. And I'm like, well, I've done one thing today, so I'm
but you do that one thing fantastic, and
I'm
you
like
do
the
not.
14-year-old Labrador.
Oh my gosh,
Like I went for my one walk this morning.
that is false. That is false. This could be our challenge to all of our listeners and all of ourselves, this two-person cult here at the Nut Farm. That no, I've lost my train of thought. No, I'm gonna get it back. Come on back, Greg.
Join the
Come on,
Nut Farm.
come on. Two, let's open up our eyes to what we actually do. If we actually listed out all of the stuff that we did in one day, it's quite remarkable that we are capable
We
of
should
doing
do
that.
it.
Yeah. Done. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Challenge all of y'all too. Write it in the comments of whatever platform that you listen to this. DM us, email us,
Sure.
all forms. We'll take them, we'll share them, we'll talk about them. And then we get a little bit of a at a girl, at a boy, because we've accomplished a whole heap today.
Yep.
You can lay your sweet little head down on the pillow at nighttime and say you had a good day, you did a good job.
Yep.
And I think this is our natural end.
Sure.
That feel good to you?
Yeah.
All right. Feels
Yep.
good to me.
Cool.
We out.
Peace out.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.